first VCU game might be considered one of your better games. How do you feel about that? It looked like it built confidence rather than sucked it out of you.
Yeah, it was a great game. I think we, by and large, the games have been really good and exciting, competitive. I thought we played well. I thought we were tough. I know we rebounded the ball well, which is important for anybody that plays VCU. We probably didn't shoot quite as well as we would normally would like to. And then I think we had a few too many turnovers. But yeah, I feel like we played well and looking forward to playing again.
How do you get the taste of last night out of your mouth? What do you do in practice to make sure the guys have moved on mentally?
Well, we'll meet before practice a little bit and just talk about, we all, from myself down, contributed to not playing as well as we could have. So we'll talk about that. I think the guys are pretty resilient. I think, they've been through a lot of basketball. So I think we'll be disappointed. I don't know necessarily if that'll go away immediately, but we'll also be motivated and ready to play on Friday.
I asked this question of Nick already. Is it a George Mason thing with the way you played against them twice, or did you just pick 2 bad days and they have to be consistent?
Yeah, well, I would say it probably has to have something to do with them. Their personnel and how they attack us has been very successful. I'm sure it somewhat is, if you have one of those games where you just make every shot and feel great, you might beat anybody. But I'm sure it has a lot to do with them and their approach, their game plan, and we need to do better the next time we play them.
Coach, does the fact that you haven't really had that many games like that this year, does that make it a little bit easier to move past it?
Well, I hope so. To be honest, the game was back to a 4-point game with 6 minutes to go. So I think the last 10 points of the game, not that they were irrelevant, but I think it stretched the lead out to farther than it might have been. But the fact of the matter is we lost by a wide margin, which is pretty rare. I think we could talk about it in terms of, the next time we play George Mason, we'll talk about this and we'll work really hard at figuring this out. Now's not the time for that. Let's move on and let's get ready to play Friday.
Well, speaking of Friday, a competitive game the first time, as we've talked about already, but, a little chomping at the bit to get them here on your home court.
I think so. I think, what's so unusual about college basketball now is you only play a certain amount of teams twice. So to have that opportunity to play our crosstown rival at home is always going to be a big deal. And I know the atmosphere will be great. The environment will be really, really intense, and we should have an opportunity to play well.
Jay hasn't had the foul trouble this year that he's had in years past, but last night it came back on him for one reason or another. You don't really have to say anything to him about that. He knows how important he is to this team, and it may be too simple to say that he got away when he is not on the court, but you probably don't have to say anything to him today about any of that.
No, we'll just touch on last night he had 2 offensive fouls in the first half. So that is something we really can't afford because as a big guy you're going to get some fouls just in the nature of boxing out and contesting shots in the paint, being the last line of defense. You're going to pick up some fouls. We can't have any offensive fouls. I know he knows that, but we'll touch on it and make sure that we can play as clean of a game as possible.
How is VCU different under Will than they might have been under Shaka, and how do you prepare differently for the way he approaches offensive play?
Well, I would say, one, I think he's a great coach and done a great job. Obviously the way they press is a little bit different. It's not quite as 100% as it used to be. They play a lot of matchup zone, a lot of switching. This particular team plays always with 2 bigs, whereas, Anthony's teams, Jeff Capel's team, and Shaka's teams always played with a kind of an undersized 4 like Bradford Burgess. So this team's playing with 2 bigs. That's probably partly driven by personnel. I think they're really interested in offensive rebounding. So I would say that's probably the biggest difference is who they play at the 4 and how they approach their defense.
Coach, I've only been here, I think it's my 4th basketball season, but I don't remember 3 technicals in a season for you since I've been here. Is that anything you notice or have cared about?
Yeah. Well, sure, I care about it. Early on, it was a few more than that, John, I think. So, yeah. Yeah, no, I need to make sure that any conversations I have with the officials don't cost us any points. So, yeah, it's something that I'm addressing with myself, and hopefully we'll be better.
As a follow-up to fouls,
Yeah.
I know you can't say much about it, but 23-7 last night.
Yeah.
Any intention to send a tape to the league office and ask them to review it? I don't think that's the most you can say, right?
Right. Yeah, I think that would be something we'll consider. And look, we need to make sure we do our part. And I think there have been times, probably for any team, but for us, over the course of my time here, where we've shot too many threes. I don't think that was the case last night. I thought we attacked the basket. I thought we threw the ball inside. I thought we were aggressive. So we need to do a little bit better job at drawing contact and avoiding contact while we're on defense.
You have a guy like Lewis who's really lighting it up lately.
Yeah.
His shots are falling like that. Goes without saying he'll be a key to your game plan defensively.
Yeah. He's a great player, and one thing about him is he's really improved. He came in really good and fast, but he's really improved, and he'll he's number one on the scouting report. He has the ball so much, he can do so many different things. To make 9 threes in a game and also probably be the fastest guy on the court, that's really something that's difficult to deal with.
And then how have you seen Nick Sherrod kind of improve? 18 points last night. One of the bright spots for you guys. How is he?
Well, Nick is an extremely hard worker. He's very, very mature. He has a really good sense for the game. I think he's confident, mainly because of how hard he works. And, he's going to be a great, great player for us. And I think it's already starting to show. I don't think he's had too many down games, but he certainly played really well lately.